I like YBA, and if you followed my channel for a bit, then that's pretty obvious. I've played this game for about 2 years now, and I've seen a lot of things and done everything there is to be done. Now, I feel like I'm finally ready to make a review of this game. So first, I'm just gonna talk about the one thing that YBA has done really well. YBA has one of the best combat mechanics that I've seen in any JoJo game. If you've ever asked a long-time player of YBA what's the best thing about the game, I'm confident that person is going to say the combat. The combat is so well made and especially rewarding to get the hang of it. A really great segue to this is the visual effects. The effects in this game are amazing. You can always tell what's happening on screen since the effects of every attack and ability in the game is so visually distinct. I related notes that the models of the stats look pretty great as well. To add on to that, the skins look great, but some skins are just questionable or plain garbage. That's probably it for the good stuff. I know it's pretty short, but I am a man of few words. I do have a lot of complaints though, so it's probably going to overshadow the praise I'm just giving it. So, let's begin. Aside from the combat, the visual effects, and stand models, everything else is mediocre. Remember when I said that the combat in YBA is the best thing about it? Well, on a related note, the balancing isn't. The only problem about YBA's combat is the balancing for each stand is fucking horrible. The quick explanation is that there are bad stands and that there are really good stands. You're basically shooting yourself in the leg if you use a stand that isn't good. All stands in the anime are great in their own way. Each have their own strengths and weaknesses, and yes, some are just outright more powerful than others. But for a good fighting game, it's not best to pursue that, but instead balance. The only time where balancing is an issue is if both opponents or everyone use a good stand, which is just bad game design. You don't want everyone to be running around with Star Platinums, Maiden Heavens, or the World Over Heavens. That's just horrible game balancing. It doesn't even end there. Specialties are the same as well. Some specs are just so good that there's almost no variety in the specs you can use. It's just boxing and fluff. Other specs like Hamon, Vampire, and Spinners left in the dust because of either how inconvenient or worse it is. Basically, YBA's balancing is garbage. Despite YBA being the best game in terms of combat, it's pretty much shot itself because of how bad its balancing is. The storyline only exists to give the player cash and experience, as well as to learn the basic mechanics like blocking, attacking, and maybe even perfect blocking. It doesn't do it well though. The player isn't even given a guide, a tutorial, or anything like that. The story doesn't even matter. I literally forgot about it after a while. The progression as well gets really repetitive because of the prestiging mechanic, which is one of the worst ways to extend the playtime of the game. In this clip, I spent around an hour or more trying to progress my new account to Prestige 1, but unfortunately it became so tedious and I didn't have the energy that I decided to stop midway. Quite frankly, progression and leveling in YBA is a giant chore, as well as grinding money, as well as grinding cash as well, since everything is so dang expensive in this game. Another thing I'd like to talk about is the map. Compared to the visual effects, the map is eh. It's really easy for an inexperienced player to get lost. Every building looks the same and it lacks any detail. Experienced players just treat the NPCs around the map as landmarks instead of the map itself. Now I am by no means a map designer, but the map is just plain. It isn't good. Exploits are common, even more so in Steel Online. There are so many script kiddies in this game, there is around an 1/5 chance that there's going to be a flying Lego man ruining the game. This applies to main game, maybe 1v1 GPPs, and especially Stealable Run. Also, the anti-cheat doesn't even work well. The only thing that it does well is kick out innocent players that haven't done jack shit. The only thing that remotely does its job are the staff in the YBA Discord. They have to ban people manually, and the players have to send video evidence. I kinda feel bad for the staff since they have to do something that the game is supposed to do on its own.
There will be new stands added this summer. Huh, I wonder where that stand is. This is the one thing I don't like. Now, I love YBA, that's pretty obvious. The problem is that the developers of this game are letting YBA be stuck in the limbo. When was the last time YBA updated? When was the most recent stand added? The main developer seems to value promoting more drama rather than interacting with his community or working on the game. I remember when there was a big fuss about someone exploiting an AUT and discovering that some visual effects were being used without permission. There's also that one issue about a developer not following deadlines and ruining their friendship with Uzuki. YBA is a great game, but the way that the developers are treating the game is making the community hate it more, and it's more or less teeing YBA's grave. Personally, YBA is a great game that has been ruined by its developers. I've played this game for so much that I've grown tired of it. The lack of new content as well makes it even harder to make new videos around YBA, and it's gone to a point that most old YBA YouTubers that I remember are dropping out of the game and making other new and enjoyable content, which is understandable. The only thing driving me to make this video is, of course, to break the 4 month silence, but it's the one thing that's driving me is gratitude and nostalgia. So now, what I want to do is to explore other things, try out other games, and to move away from YBA. So before I end this video, I've asked other notable people from the YBA community what they thought about the game. I interviewed or surveyed them 5 questions. So these questions were: what was YBA like in the past? What do you think about the community before and now? What do you think about the trading updates / skins? What do you think is the best thing in YBA? What do you think YBA needs right now? And lastly, the statement that they wanted to add after the questions, if they wanted to. So the first person that I asked was VibeRBLX, a Russian Roblox YouTuber with around 80,000 subscribers. So what was YBA like in the past? The only good thing about old YBA was balance and Uzu having some kind of passion for the game. What do you think about the community before and now? Better due to the fact that larger communities become more toxic. It happens everywhere. What do you think about the trading update / skins? The trading update gave YBA new life and a sense of grind because before you had to spend countless hours and maybe get Rule 63 Red Hot Chili Peppers if God blessed you. But now you can actually trade, though it also negatively impacted Uzu because now he knows for sure kids will eat any shit he makes. What do you think is the best thing in YBA? Quality. New prototype JoJo games that are underrated from other YouTubers will die in a few weeks like Project Star. What do you think YBA needs right now? A new owner. Uzu lacks passion is needed to make YBA good and not a cash cow. And lastly, his statement is that to please stop watching shit content in YBA. There's a decent amount of original creators that spend hours and even days on their videos like Optics with his editing that make videos because they want to. So please stop watching types of content like Sage Tempest or HW55 whatever his name was. The next person that I asked was Taste. He's a very old YBA player and he was formerly a YBA YouTuber. So what was YBA like in the past? So arcaders were still called bullies, everyone barraged first, no one knew how to parry. That was just it. What do you think about the community before and now? Okay, take the community now and how they have the mindset of a fucking loose chimpanzee, but like pure trash. The community has now become 100% more toxic. What do you think about the trading update / skins? I love this update. What do you think is the best thing in YBA? Combat. I love the combat. He also says that stand / item grinding is hot garbage, add an item shop system. What do you think YBA needs right now? He says, bug fixes, and an owner that actually gives 2 fucks about his game every update is just skins. New stand, bug fixes, new game mechanics, quests, anything, and the Prestige 3 to 10 idea. Lastly, his statement was, he wants YBA to have new stands, bug fixes, new game mechanics, quests, or anything. The Prestige 3 to 10 idea, where if you go beyond Prestige 3, you get rewards and you can also get more XP. And most importantly, give Pluck like at least 1 node for damage resist. The next person I asked is Gagesupersonic. He's extremely well versed in PvP in this game. His channel has around 50,000 subscribers last time I checked. So, what was YBA like in the past? Well, that is a really good question. The game was very new and still had a shit ton of bugs with it. Some common examples are move stacking, hitting people with their BTD, or a beatdown, hitting multiple people at once, etc. I do think the game was a lot better than it is now because at the time it felt like Uzu actually wanted to put effort into the game. Obviously now that's changed. Unless he's working on a huge update, there's no way it should take this long to release a single stand. That stand being stone free. SBR was extremely hectic though. Remember when multiple people could barrage a single person at once? Yeah. If you had a team of 3 to 4 barrage one person, there was pretty much no coming back unless you had GER. GER's awakening was the most busted thing in the game at the time, and there was an extremely broken meta which involved GER pluck. You were able to move stack instant slash plus RTZ and pretty much get a free combo out of it. Not to mention, while barraging you could also use Scorpions to get a free 60 plus damage. KCR was also the best stand of the game at the time, because if you ragdolled someone and they used the box on them, they would be stunned for 2 seconds when they got up, giving you a free combo. Raging Demon lasted for years and Epitaph had close to no cooldown. What do you think about the community before and now? The community has had its ups and downs, but back then, the community was really not much different than it is now. People still scammed people for items, people still spammed easy and others. From what I have seen, not too much has changed. Unless we're talking about gangs, he says. There used to be this certain gang called Chanchi in old YBA. They would flood SBR servers with 9 to 10 people and maybe even more. And System was also an extremely toxic gang. Don't mess with System. Gangs were really bad back then because people would flood the ever-living shit out of SBR servers and public servers. What do you think about the trading updates / skins? Honestly, this is probably one of the worst ideas I've ever seen come out. The trading update turned the game into a trading paradise and literally everyone in the game is just focused on trading now, exactly what Paragon said would happen. I think if they just made it to where you could trade regular stands, that would have been fine, but trading shinies took it to an entire other level. I had a feeling there would be a duping bug on release, and shocker, there was. And it didn't just happen once, it happened 3 to 4 times because people used exploits and found other ways using the stand storage method. What do you think is the best thing in YBA? If I had to say, I don't think there's any best thing in YBA. But there is one thing I can say. The old feeling of playing YBA was the best thing you could have ever gotten. And I know probably about 80% of YBA's player base started playing with Made in Heaven and the World Over Heaven released. But I'm talking about before that. Way before that. In 2019, before Star Platinum the World, before Killer Queen Bites the Dust, before the KCR nerf, before SCR was best stand of the game, SBR was extremely fun to me. But now it's just not the same. The only thing I really find fun in the game now is Gang Wars. Personally to me, YBA is probably one of the easiest games I have ever played and gotten good at, if not the easiest. I mainly play FPS games, so that's why I'm saying that. The old feeling of YBA was the best thing that has ever happened. What do you think YBA needs right now? This is a really good question, but I'm pretty sure every YouTuber would agree with this, even yourself. The game in general just needs content. If Uzu wants the community to come together and grow, then he needs to update the game more often. It doesn't even matter if it's a new stand, new game mode, more to the story, or anything. We just need something. We have not heard from Uzu in a very long time. Probably taking another break for the more billionth time or something. But this has just gotten out of hand. People are losing motivation to play the game, including myself. Hence why I only upload every 3 to 4 weeks or so. It is just so hard to motivate myself to make a video on this game, because there's just not enough things to do. The next person I asked is like one of the most notable figures in the YBA YouTube scene. It's Eclipse, the legal adult who plays children's games. As said in his channel description, he has around like 200,000 subscribers last time I checked, so what was YBA like in the past? YBA's changed a lot since I started playing, but I guess the biggest thing that's changed is balance. Old YBA was unbelievably unbalanced. Stuff like time stop with Star Platinum the World being a 100% guaranteed one-shot against non-time stop resist, and King Crimson Requiem being able to stun and stand up with Reality Marble. There were many more egregious balance issues, but those are the first two that comes to mind. What do you think about the community before and now? The community, as far as I'm concerned, hasn't really changed. It's just like any other community dominated by young kids. A loud, toxic minority gives everyone else a bad name, while the decent people are shouted over. What do you think about the trading update slash skins? I think the skin slash trading update itself is harmless, but the effects that have been caused by it are the real problem. If they just threw in some skins with regular content updates, nobody would bat an eye, but currently it's very clearly being used as a substitute for actual things being added, which is a shame. What do you think is the best thing in YBA? The best thing in YBA is the combat, no questions asked. Most stuns being difficult to land, M1s that having stun and giving you combos, perfect blocking, strong attacks, it all blends together to give us something that's worth coming back to. What do you think YBA needs right now? What YBA needs right now is transparency. As it stands, Uzu is like a mythical figure rather than an actual person. His Discord name is literally nothing. He doesn't interact with the community whatsoever, and his information about what or when things are going to happen is a total crapshoot. I think the thing that bugs me the most about the fact is that his Patreon has sneak peeks and whatnot. Now mind you, I have no clue if he actually updates his Patreon, but the simple fact that even knowing what's going on at all is paywall doesn't give him a very good look. And lastly, his statement is that the thing YBA really needs to be a better game is another game to come along and threaten their position at the top. Uzu's grown complacent because people are playing anyhow regardless of what he does. If people start leaving for something better, he'd have to improve or be forgotten. So the next person I asked is Swag, a YBA YouTuber with around 18,000 subscribers. So what was YBA like in the past? Uzu was a lot more interactive with his community and at the time, giving public sneak peeks, polls, and taking community feedback. I think all the money has gotten to his head at this point, and he also says that Uzu is too blind to see our words, he sees us as cows, and is milking us for profit. What do you think about the community before and now? The community back then was definitely much more relaxed compared to now, mostly because it was a smaller community. But now it's just hell, it's not even a community anymore. It's like a loose thread stuck to a needle hanging on for dear life. Clumped up bacteria. Constant fighting, no peace, no harmony, just negativity and complaining. It's a toxic wasteland and we can't change it. What do you think about the trading update slash skins? He says, horrible, or awful rather. I believe you've already heard why it's terrible, so I don't think I need to elaborate. What do you think the best thing in YBA is? I'd have to say the variety it brings. You can experiment with different builds, it never gets old. Skill point system was the greatest thing to happen in this game. What do you think YBA needs right now? An update. What it needs is one of two things, a purely balanced and fixes update or a purely gameplay update. I'm talking multiple new stands, multiple reworks, new specs, new game modes. I have been looking forward to the Gang Wars game mode that was supposed to come out in forever. And lastly, his statement is, sub to Swag. So that is it for this video. I know it's been 4 months late and I haven't really uploaded in a while. And I probably think it was boring. And I probably think it was boring and around the interview slash survey part. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video and I hope you guys will be sticking around to see the future of this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you next time.